Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're a nursing student getting ready for exams, you already know just how critical it is to understand the entire human journey. So, in this explainer, we are going to break down the absolute core concepts of developmental psychology. Think of this as your ultimate study guide to give you the essential knowledge you need to ace those tests.
All right, here's a quick look at our game plan. We're going to start with the foundations of development, then we'll walk through the journey of childhood and into adulthood. After that, and this is key for you, we'll explore the central role you play as a nurse, and then we'll wrap it all up with some really important considerations for caring for vulnerable patients. You ready? Let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can talk about the different stages of life, we really need to lay the groundwork. To get the human journey, we have to grasp the fundamental ideas that shape our development. This is the what and the why of how we all become who we are. So what even is developmental psychology? Well, at its heart, it's the science of how and why people change over time. And it's not just about babies and kids, It's a look at the entire journey, from the moment of conception all the way through to the end of life. It's the whole story. Now, we often break development down into these three main areas: the physical, the cognitive, and the socio-emotional. But, and this is so important to remember, these things do not happen in a vacuum. They are completely woven together. Think about it. A physical delay in learning to walk can affect a child's social life, just like emotional stress can totally cloud their ability to think clearly. It's all one big, complex tapestry. All right, theory is great, but let's see how this stuff actually plays out in the real world, starting with childhood. And what a start it is. This is, without a doubt, the most rapid and transformational period of growth in a person's entire life. The foundations for everything else are built right here. And our journey begins in infancy, which is from birth to about 2 years old. This stage is just defined by an explosion of physical growth, and maybe even more importantly, establishing those first fundamental relationships that literally shape how we see the world. Okay, this slide is packed with stuff you're going to want to remember for your exams. Physically, the growth is just incredible. A baby's birth weight doubles by 5 months and triples by their first birthday. But look at the psychosocial side. The famous psychologist Erik Erikson said the main event here is trust versus mistrust. And that sense of safety and security, it depends entirely on getting reliable, loving care from caregivers. This one question perfectly captures what's going on in that tiny infant's head. Is my world safe? Can I count on people to take care of me? And your role as a nurse, whether you're providing care yourself or educating parents, is to do everything you can to make sure the answer to that question is a definite yes. So as we move into those toddler and preschool years, from about 2 to 6, the whole theme starts to shift. The child's world is getting bigger, and with that comes this powerful drive for independence and personal control. And right on cue, here are 2 more of Erikson's big psychosocial challenges. First up is autonomy versus shame, which is all about learning to do things for themselves. I can do it. Then comes initiative versus guilt, where they start to dream up their own games and activities. As a nurse, you're there to support this. You'll be giving guidance on things like toilet training, you'll be encouraging them to explore safely, and you'll be reminding everyone just how important play is for their development. Okay, let's fast forward a bit to the next major phase of life. The challenges of development are always evolving, and as we hit adolescence and move into adulthood, they're all about shaping our identity and figuring out our purpose. Adolescence. This is a time of just intense change. You've got the huge physical shifts of puberty, you've got friends suddenly becoming way more influential than family, and all the while there's this deep internal quest for self-discovery going on. And really, it all boils down to this one big question. This is the core psychological task of being a teenager. Erikson actually called this stage identity versus role confusion. The goal is to try and piece together a solid sense of self, figuring out your values, what you believe in, and where you fit into this big, complicated world. And believe me, this journey does not stop when you turn 20. It keeps going our entire lives. In early adulthood, the main focus becomes forming those deep, intimate relationships. Then, in middle adulthood, it shifts to contributing to the world and the next generation, what Erikson called generativity. And finally, in late adulthood, the big task is to look back on it all with a sense of integrity and feel like it was a life well lived. So we've got all this theory, but how does any of it translate to what you do every day? What is your actual role in all of this?
Let's pull it all together and see how you, the nurse, can support healthy development from day one to the very end. I love this diagram because it shows it perfectly. You are the central hub. You're the one connecting all the different pieces of a patient's care. You are a health promoter, a guide, an educator for patients and their families. You are absolutely key to supporting healthy development at every single stage of life. And these right here, these are the powerful tools in your toolkit. We're talking about everything from clear health teaching to providing that crucial emotional support to simply making sharp, accurate observations of a child's development. Every single one of these actions helps your patients meet their developmental milestones.
All right, let's wrap up by focusing on an area that is just so incredibly important for your practice. Caring for people whose developmental journey might be a little more complicated because of health, social, or physical challenges. So, when we talk about vulnerable individuals, we could be talking about anyone who's physically or mentally challenged, women facing specific maternal health issues, or really any patient of any age who's sick and in the hospital. Understanding the unique psychological needs of these groups is a non-negotiable critical nursing skill.
Okay, you really need to let this slide sink in because this is huge, both for your exams and your practice. These are the practical, non-negotiable steps for protecting vulnerable patients. We're talking about creating a safe environment, doing frequent checks, educating families, and always getting informed consent. These aren't suggestions, they're your essential duties to protect your patients.
So we'll end with this question, which is pulled straight from nursing review materials, because it gets to the absolute heart of everything we've talked about. As you study, as you prepare, keep this question front and center in your mind. How are you going to apply these theories in your own practice? How will you use your unique skills to give that holistic, compassionate care for every single patient at every stage of their life? Honestly, your ability to answer that is what will define the kind of nurse you become.